Sacred institutions. Bedroom eyes, they call them in a bygone day. They're the eyes of a man whose lust knows no bounds.
Well, hello everybody. Welcome back to a new season of Horny Creek. My name is Mark. With me, as always, is my wife, Carol. How you doing today, Carol?
Hey, what's up?
Not much. It's been a good week here. It's September 29th, 1999. And
smell those fall leaves.
absolutely.
Love it. My favorite season.
We're coming up to my birthday next month. We're coming up to Halloween. I assume we'll have another stellar Halloween episode for Dawson's Creek.
Oh, I hope so.
That comes up because they're, Steve Miner, Friday the 13th.
Makes sense.
And obviously, what's his name? I can't remember the name of the guy that created the show off the top of my head, but he's a big...
Kevin Williamson?
Yes, thank you very much. He's a big horror fan, obviously. I know what you did last summer, Scream, all that shit. So.
Cool.
But anyway, yeah, if you recall, at the end of
last time on Dawson's Creek,
last season, we had the least horny episode.
Yeah.
This is maybe the most horny, well, one of the most horny
Right.
episodes of this show.
Yeah.
Like a virgin, because Dawson is a virgin.
And yeah, I don't want to spoil it, but I want to spoil it.
Well, I mean, we're doing the show, so...
He literally turns down sex twice.
Yeah, with two different women.
What the fuck, Dawson?
Two different hot women.
That's the most unbelievable thing Kevin Williamson ever wrote.
Seriously.
There is no 16-year-old boy, or 17, or however old he's supposed to be,
Yeah.
who's going to give up the chance to lose his virginity twice in one night.
Yeah, it's really, really interesting. But, yeah, he didn't even lose his virginity to some dock worker in Philadelphia,
Right?
All
hope not.
All the dock workers in Philadelphia are female anyway, so. But they all talk like this. Come here, Dawson. Let me pinch your cheeks.
But yeah, his mom has moved to Philadelphia to take that other job.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming his dad has moved into the house with him, even though his dad was supposed to be gone for
Yeah.
some training or conference. I don't know.
Well, TV's The Flash. John Wesley Shipp is going to be the high school football coach because, I don't know, it gives us the opportunity for Dawson to look at his dad and be like, I don't want your life. Or, I don't know exactly what they're doing, but is Dawson going to go out to be the quarterback? Are they going to make some joke about Varsity Blues? There's a question, because they're setting up a football side plot or whatever.
That's true.
This season, are they going to make some kind of meta joke about Varsity Blues?
That would be funny. I hope they do. But yeah, so his dad, and this continues to make me angry.
Yeah.
Because literally their marriage probably would have been fine if he would have just done this a few years sooner.
Well, yeah. I mean, spoiler alerts for my family, I guess. Not really a spoiler alert, but like, I don't know. I'll give you a little peek in the insight. So, my dad and my mom got divorced, and my dad is an alcoholic. Not a great alcoholic either. Not one of the high functioning ones like, people in Congress. But after they got divorced, my dad quit drinking.
Yeah.
And hasn't drank since then. And it's one of those situations where it's like, that seems to happen a lot with men, is once they've pushed it to the point where it's irreparably broken, they're like, oh, I'll change.
Yeah.
I understand now. The consequences of my actions.
Yeah. So Mr. Leary is not only working as a substitute teacher, but now the football coach.
Now he's making that extra $35 a week as football coach.
So Dawson has the house to himself for the weekend or whatever.
Yeah. But on his trip back from Philadelphia, he meets one of those female dock workers. This short, blonde... Oh!
Oh, goodness. Sorry, guys.
Wow, that got you, huh? This short-haired blonde woman.
Yeah, she's cute. She's cute.
She's cute in a pixie kind of way. They're really going for Rebecca De Mornay, seductress kind of thing.
Okay.
And I don't see it. She's too cute.
Interesting.
Rebecca De Mornay has that I don't know what she's like in real life. In real life, I'm sure she's probably sweet as pie. or whatever. But she has the ability as an actress to portray that look in her eye, and like where she is in that movie anyway, where she is like a seductress, and this woman I don't think can. She's too cutesy.
Now, which movie are you referencing?
Risky Business.
Okay, I thought so. So that's what this episode is copying or trying to do or whatever.
Here's the problem I have with this episode.
Okay.
I think this show is at its worst when it's just copying a movie.
Yeah.
The Breakfast Club episode was good.
It was.
It was good in part, I think, because it was the first. It introduced us to Abby, who was an interesting character, for one. But it was also, like I said, it was the first. So it was like we saw it and it was like, oh, that's cool. It's different. Like, you don't see TV shows doing that a lot and everything. And it's like, it was something just unique and different. They parodied the lines. They openly referenced that's what they were doing. Mm-hmm. Let's have a Breakfast Club fucking moment or whatever. And so they did a lot of things right with that. I think the success of that episode may have been one of the worst things to happen to the show because they feel like they can do it again, or they feel like they can do it once every season or something like that. And it's just, it doesn't feel original. It doesn't really work.
Yeah. Well, they were combining other movies in with it, which was weird.
At one point, Pacey gives us basically the exact same speech that James Earl Jones does in Field of Dreams. Yeah.
So yeah, he meets this lady on the train, and they have a little flirtation. Whatever, they have a little flirtation, and then apparently he falls asleep, and then she's gone.
Yeah, because he comes back and he's telling the story to Pacey, and he's like, "Well, what happened when you woke up?" And he's like, "She turned into a Mexican man with a hair lip or whatever."
What the fuck?
That's what he said.
He did not say Mexican man with a hair lip.
He said something like that, though.
Oh my god, that's funny. So, Joey has not talked to Dawson for the entire summer.
Correct. They've been incommunicado, as they say.
And Pacey's trying to prepare Dawson for seeing her because it's the first day of school.
He's like, "Oh, you're gonna hug her and you're gonna kiss her because that's what sex is all about, baby." So that's what he said.
What?
He says something like that.
No. He says, what's going to happen when she locks those big brown doe eyes on you and says, "Dawson, I'm sorry," whatever.
You're going to go back to her or whatever. And he's like, "No, I'm going to say no because it's not good. We're not good together."
Yeah. So they do see each other finally in a hallway at one point, but they never even talk to each other the whole school day.
No.
There is an assembly. And it's really stupid. I don't know why they did this, and I'm concerned that they're going to try to do some big storyline with this weird principal dude.
Yeah, well, here's my worry. Because, they introduce a new principal, this weird dude, and you can talk about him in a second. My worry is that they're going to make the school and, the teachers, some big subplot, like a B story almost for this season. Or who knows, the rest of the show, I don't know. Because like you said, they're establishing that his dad is the coach of the football team. And now they're establishing a new character in the administrative office that Mitch is presumably going to interact with.
Right.
So, I don't want to see the teachers. That's not what this show is.
Yeah, they need to be careful. It's better when they give the illusion there are no adults in Cape Side.
Exactly. They've all been murdered by Jason Voorhees.
Right. But this guy is so weird. He calls Pacey out for talking in the assembly.
Yeah, because Pacey's leaning over to Dawson and he's like, "You're going to hug her and you're going to kiss her because that's what sex is all about, baby."
And he's like, "Stand up," and he's like, "Thank you for acting like a kid." Because he was talking about how all these students are way older than they're supposed to be and dealing with grown-up things or whatever.
He's like, "I've watched a few episodes of this show and you guys act like adults."
And he's like, "So, good job, keep up the good work, and I'll see you Saturday in detention." So that was fucked up.
Yeah, he was like, "I want you to do what you're doing, Pacey. I want you to do it more. I want you to fuck around and get in trouble and stuff, and then I'll see you in detention."
So, I asked you this last night, and I don't remember your answer. Do you think that he really has detention?
Yes.
That's so stupid.
He asks that too. he says to Dawson, surely he was joking about that or whatever. It's like, no, he's got detention. What he's saying is he wants kids in detention. This principal is like, that's it. And this is the stupidest thing ever, by the way, too. And if any young kids are listening, don't fall into this trap when you get older, too, where he's like, the way kids were in my day, that's the way a kid should always be. Like, that's the way it is. Because he's like, he says, you guys are too adult, you guys are, or whatever. Like, that's a bad thing. Like, not that it's a different thing, but that it's bad. Mm-hmm. You know, and that's not necessarily true. Like, we don't have to have panty raids or TP houses or put cherry bombs in toilets and shit like that. Like, it's not the 50s anymore. You know what I mean? Like, kids still act like kids in different ways. These kids certainly act like kids.
Yeah.
Their vocabulary may be erudite, but they're not.
Right.
So, I think it's, I don't know. Like, I think people do fall into that trap. Like, oh, the world the way it was when I was a kid, that's the best way it was. Like, I wish we could go back to that. Oh, when you had no responsibilities?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, yes, that feels awesome. That's what you long for, not like some mythical way the world was.
Right.
So I think his speech is a little misguided.
Agreed. So, we also established that Joey has a job.
Yeah, she's working on the docks like a Philadelphia woman.
I don't understand her job.
I don't know. She's doing boats.
Doing boats, yeah. Like, it seems almost like maybe she's like repairing boats, because that's what the guy's giving an estimate on later.
I guess, yeah. Maybe she's a boat mechanic. I don't know.
But she's a high school girl, so that makes no sense.
You know what boat stands for? Bust out another 1,000. Boats are expensive to maintain and own.
Right. But her boss seems like a jackass.
Yeah, her boss seems like he wants to have sex with her, too.
Yeah, which is weird because he's a grown-up and she's a teenager.
Yeah, all these teenagers are having sex with grown-ups. So that's one way that maybe it should be more like the 50s.
Right.
Although I assume that was probably happening in the 50s, too. I don't know.
Well, she's late to school because she's coming from her job.
Yeah.
And then Dawson and Pacey decide to go to the strip club after school. Like, I don't get this. Another thing I don't understand. They're supposed to be at most 17, and they're just allowed in a strip club? I mean, obviously they're legally not, but I guess Pacey just knows where.
Or they have a fake ID or whatever.
Just like Jen was dating that guy who would, drink at the jazz club all the time.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, like either these kids have fake IDs or these establishments are crooked.
I'm telling you, yeah, Cape Side is just filled with fucking... it's a criminal underworld. That's why the dad couldn't do anything but sell drugs.
Right, there you go.
But it's weird because, like I said before, they should have just set this in college.
Yeah.
We're going to our hometown college in Cape Side. We all grew up together, went to high school together. We haven't gotten out of this fucking town because we're stuck in this college or whatever, but they should have just done that, and then all this still makes sense.
Yeah. But Pacey is such an asshole. He orders a couple of beers and a tall glass of milk for my friend.
Right.
So
because Dawson's so, like, prim and proper, I guess, at the strip club.
And, like, Dawson doesn't look younger than Pacey or anything. Like,
No.
I mean, James Vanderbeek does not look younger than what the fuck is
Joshua
Pacey?
Jackson.
Yeah, but Joshua Jackson all of a sudden now looks 30.
He did. I
don't know what happened.
He went through second puberty. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, that's
either.
that happens to dudes in their 20s, where like they kind of look like they're teenagers, and then all of a sudden they're grown ass men.
Yeah.
Yeah, Joshua Jackson's grown ass man now.
Yeah.
But he's still supposed to be a high school student. It is a problem.
It's weird.
I don't know what they're gonna do about this, but she brings him root beer, and so she knows.
Well, she knows it's him because the waitress is fucking the woman on the bus.
Yeah.
Spoilers. They're at a strip club. I want to say this too. They're at one of those TV strip clubs where none of the strippers take off their clothes.
Right? Yeah. Just like
it's just large-breasted women dancing in furry tops
on poles.
Yep.
Yeah. No, real strip clubs have a lot more tits.
Yes, they do.
So she's flirting with Dawson, and he apparently gives her his number. Now, she works in the strip club, so she's got to be at least like 21.
I would assume so,
She's
yeah.
selling liquor.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you have to be 18 or 21. I guess 18.
I think you have to be 18.
Yeah.
If the you can be 18 in one of those strip clubs where they don't serve alcohol and it's fully nude. But if you're in a strip club where they serve alcohol and it's just topless, you have to be 21. Because state law requires you to be 21 to be working with any place with a liquor license.
Well, I don't know about that. 'Cause
Well, I mean, like if you're...
I worked at 7-Eleven,
Uh-huh.
and I sold alcohol when I was under 21.
Yeah, but that's different though, because you're not like directly handling it and stuff like that. It's in sealed bottles.
Okay.
You couldn't just like go to the tap and like
Right.
drink something, you know. So I think retail is different because you can work in a supermarket too that sells alcohol.
Yeah.
You know, and not be 21. But I think bars. So there are. I'm not an expert on this at all, but I do believe there are different kinds of liquor license. And I think the kind of liquor license that stores have to sell sealed bottles of liquor is different than what bars need to have. I think bars and stuff like that are held to a higher standard because of the openness of the alcohol.
That makes sense. Yeah, one time I worked with a 15-year-old at 7-Eleven.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how annoying it was when she was like, I want to run the register. Then every 5 minutes, Carol, I need you, because I had to ring up the alcohol.
That's crazy. 15. I mean, like I had my first job when I was 14. It was in a fast food restaurant kind of thing. But yeah, it's just crazy to me to think of a 15-year-old working at 7-Eleven. Because I just see, mostly broken down old men.
What?
We did have I did go to high school with somebody that worked at our local 7-Eleven back when I was in high school. And then there was a guy, Fez, we called him. I don't know what his real name was, but we called him Fez. And or
Like that 70s show?
yeah, I'm thinking about it now, and it's like, but it was his last name. I'm not going to say his last name.
No.
But his last name, it incorporated that. And I think it was Fez. Or Foz. Foz. That's what it was, Foz. Sorry.
Okay.
Not Fez, Foz.
Okay.
But anyway, so he was our local marijuana dealer. And he talked like this all the time, and he was like, hey, man. He'd be up at the 7-Eleven all the time and stuff. And we used to joke when we were smoking pot.
It's like Chan Silent
That's yeah, exactly. That when he smoked, like it just made him smarter. So like because we always saw him not high. So like when he was high, it was like he was like, I think that. Did you ever contemplate that time? But anyway, so I don't know what we were talking about, but being how old she is. So she's probably 21 is my guess.
So Dawson,
And she knows he's a high schooler.
yeah, and Dawson's like 17 or whatever. Yeah, so that's kind of gross.
Yeah, a little bit, yes.
But I have a question because this makes no sense. Okay, he said he gave her his number and that he's sure she won't use it. Then him and Pacey walk in and she's sitting in his living room.
Yeah. Does his phone number also come with an address?
Right? Like that makes no sense.
It doesn't.
I
I noticed that too.
I mean, unless I guess she also got his last name and went through the white pages
Right.
and found the only Leary in Cape Side and then took a chance that this was the right place.
Or cross-referenced it with the phone number.
But still, she's also like, it's fucked up. She just walks in his house and waits. What if his dad came in instead of him?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe she would have had sex with the dad. I mean, it is John Wesley Shipp.
She definitely wanted to have sex with somebody.
But it is weird. Like, did she follow them home? Did she use her underworld contacts? It really is. Cape Side really is like some seedy fucking like Goodfellas type world.
It was really bizarre.
I want Joe Pesci to be on an episode. Like, how am I funny, Dawson? Like a clown? But yeah, she's just sitting there in his living room. She's like, hey, I thought I'd take you up on your offer to go on a date in your bedroom.
And this is the same day. Like, they just left there, right?
I don't know. I guess it's broad daylight out, but they were in a strip club. I don't know.
Well, you can't tell what time of day it is in the strip club. There's no windows.
No, I know, but like, I'm saying, like, how did this day work? They went to school 3:30. They get out 4:00. They're at the strip club
drinking milk and root beer.
They leave at 5:30 or something like that. Come home and she's there. Yeah. How did she get off work so fast?
Right? The whole thing makes no fucking sense.
I think it's supposed to be the next day, but it's weird that like they
There's no transition.
Abandoned this conversation and then picks it up the next day.
Yeah, it's very weird. The whole thing's fucked. But yeah, so Pacey takes him in the kitchen and gives him like a pep talk.
Yeah, he's like, this is the part of the movie or the TV show Dawson's Creek where I, as the best friend, exit stage left, but I want to give you some advice. You're in charge of the situation or whatever. And I'm like, no, I think the adult is.
Well, Pacey definitely can give the advice about fucking adults. So.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's what he's saying. He's like, at some point you're going to realize, your penis is the controlling interest here.
And then he takes her out on his dad's boat.
Well, yeah, Pacey suggests it. He's like, he lifts up the keys. Hey, how we've been talking about risky business? Well, in that movie, Tom Cruise crashes his car trying to impress Rebecca De Mornay. So maybe you should crash your dad's boat. And then we can do a risky business episode. And Dawson's like, okay. And that's why it's not great. Because as soon as he suggests the boat, I'm like, oh, he's going to crash. I know what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. And like in the movie, Tom Cruise, Rebecca De Mornay's a prostitute, not a stripper. And Tom Cruise, she helps him by gathering her women. And he becomes like their pimp. Mm-hmm. And he's like pimping them out to people and stuff like that, and that's how he makes the money for the repairs for the very expensive car. And I was like, okay, so they're gonna do something with the strippers,
and they do.
Yeah, I mean, like I knew kind of beat by beat where the story was gonna go, and it's not. There's not enough other interesting things going on to like make up for it. No. It's not a terrible episode of Dawson's Creek. But it's not. It's one of the lower ones. In my list.
Yeah, I agree. So in the meantime, Joey is talking to her sister.
Yeah, Bessie.
About how. Oh, wait a minute. So that was dinner when she got home from work when they had this conversation. So that has to be. You're right. It's a different day, and I think that was our signal that we transitioned days.
I guess so. Yeah.
Anyway. Joey was talking to her sister,
Bessie.
And Bessie's like, oh, what was it like to tell Dawson? Tell me something. I want to live vicariously through you. Like, no pressure.
Right. And they establish that Joey's working to, like, provide for the household, and her sister is not, because she has to stay at home with the baby. And she's like, as soon as we get the insurance money from the fire, then I'll be able to hire a babysitter, and then I can get a job, and you don't have to work. And it's like, okay.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah.
That your teenage sister is pulling all the weight. Like, what happened to your husband? Where is he?
It's a very good question. It's a very weird. Like, he was a chef.
Yeah.
He was the chef of the restaurant, I assumed.
Yeah.
But then he had catering gigs sometimes, like going out of town. Like,
he
just
dead?
never came back. Like, he went out of town for a chef thing and never came back.
Yeah, and we haven't talked about him.
In more than a year, probably.
Yes. It's weird.
Yeah.
Like,
he wasn't even there when the baby was born. They called him, but
something.
Yeah. Huh. Did that actor die and they just...
I don't know.
Anyway...
He was killed by Jason Voorhees.
Right. So Joey lies to her and tells her that her and Dawson, made up and forgave each other. And Bessie's like, see, I knew you would. Cause,
you guys are meant for each other. Uh-huh. You should take your shirt off in front of him. She says. And then tell me all about it.
Oh, dear God. Ew. Ew, ew, ew. Stop. They're sisters.
My husband's been gone for a year.
Stop.
No one will tell me where he is.
So the next day, as we've been talking about, this creepy stripper, but whatever.
Well, she's not
she's the waitress.
She's not a stripper either. She's a waitress.
This creepy woman who wants to have sex with the teenager, goes out on the boat with Dawson and starts like coming onto him while he's driving the boat, like basically offering to give him a blowjob, it seemed like.
I think she started. We didn't see, like, obviously we didn't see it, but she disappears below frame, and then we cut, and then we cut to the stupidest crash sound I think the sound department could have found.
Right.
It's like a cartoon, like, crash.
Yeah, it was bad.
Sound. And then we see the crashed boat. But I do believe that his penis was in her mouth, at least briefly.
So I wonder if his penis was in her mouth when the boat crashed and people saw that was happening.
I don't think anybody saw the actual act, but I think maybe they figured it out based on, I don't know, body positioning. But yeah, like I think that's the implication.
Because Joey is there and she's real pissed.
Yeah, she's like, oh, because there's a woman on the boat.
But I mean, it's like, it would make sense that she was upset if she knew what was going on, I guess, more than just that there was a woman on the boat.
If his cock was out.
Right.
But she does get pissed. She's like, the Eve is the woman's name, by the way. I guess we should stop referring to her.
Well, she says you can call me Eve. I don't think that's her name.
Yeah. But Eve says, do you know this person? Like, yes. And Joey's like, I thought I knew him, and walks away. She's all pissed. Unjustifiably.
Right.
So.
You didn't even talk to him for months, and you want him to just sit there and wait for you?
Yeah, the entire summer you didn't say anything to him, and you haven't said anything to him since the schools began. Although he does say he's been avoiding you. But you still haven't said anything. You haven't made any attempt at all. And, yeah, like, and the last thing you said to him is, I don't want to know you anymore.
Yeah. Harsh.
Like, yeah, like, horribly harsh. And it's like, oh, you're mad that he's moved on?
Right.
Ridiculous.
So this woman decides to help Dawson because Joey's boss just rushes up and gives him, like, a quote on what it'll cost to fix the boat.
Right.
Like, some kind of weird, like, opportunistic, I don't know, he's skeezy.
He is.
And it's
blowjob accident? Yeah, it's about $3,000.
Yeah. And he walked in on Joey changing.
Yeah.
Like, she's
like a creep.
And she seemed to think it was on purpose. So she's like, oh, you just happened to get thirsty when I'm in here?
He seemed to indicate that maybe it was on purpose.
Yeah. And then he got himself a diet or whatever, stands there and sips it while her shirt's, like, open and she's holding it shut. And he's like, actually, I want a Sprite, and just stays there. Like, what a dick power move.
Yeah.
Like, she's holding her shirt closed. Get the fuck out.
Why do all these adults in Cape Side want to fuck teenagers?
I don't know. It's a really weird town.
It's like this town was a repository for criminals. Sex criminals, drug criminals, arsonists.
Oh, my goodness. So, this woman comes up with a plan. First of all, the next day, I guess, she shows up with an envelope of cash.
Yeah, we had a collection at the strip club.
Yeah, these are last night's tips. None of
Only
these
$400.
And none of these strippers, like, know him, so why would they be willing to give up their money?
Seriously.
But she gives him $400.
Remember that 17-year-old that was leering at you all? He needs money.
Because I was sucking his dick. And then she's like, actually, he refuses to take the money. She's like, actually, maybe we can help without giving you money, just our time.
Pacey comes up with that plan.
Oh, Pacey came up with it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pacey's like, maybe the women can keep their money and just use their time and talents or whatever. And she's like, I like where your head's at, Pacey.
I don't like where his head's at. I think that's even more like using them than just taking the money they offered. Like, oh, no, give me your whole evening where you could be making money for yourself.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't like any of it.
I guess. I mean, like, if they want to, I think that's fine. Like, it's not like they forced him at gunpoint.
No, I know, but so they decide to do like
it is a bigger ask. I agree.
Yeah. So they decide to do a strip club in Dawson's house, basically, and charge $20 a head. Mm-hmm. That's illegal.
To make $3,000, by the way.
How many dudes was that then? Like 150?
Yeah, something like that.
150 dudes in his house.
I mean, it is a big house, but see, I feel like what they should have done is charge $20 at the door and then did lap dances. If these are strippers, do lap dances and be like, it's $20 per lap dance or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then lap dance for them.
For the children.
Yep, that's what I think the plan should be.
Pacey's like, any part of you that touches them gets broken.
Yeah, he does say that. Like, they're watching out for the girls or the women, so that's good.
And then the Eve lady has borrowed her boss's boat.
Mm-hmm. Well, this happens second.
Oh, second. Okay, sorry. Dawson is tired. He's worn out from all of this. I get that. That's stress, having your house full of people. And he's like, I'm going to go lay down. I thought Eve was going to go up there and fuck him.
That's what I did,
thought,
too.
You know?
I thought Eve was going to follow him up there.
Yeah. But instead, he walks into his room, lays down on his bed, and Joey is sitting there.
Joey's just... Yeah, by the way, I forgot to point out, one of the few episodes we don't enter Dawson's room. We're not in Dawson's room at the beginning.
That's right.
We're on a bus.
It was weird.
But, we finally get the Dawson's room scene, and Joey's just there. Like, she sees a party's going on, and just sneaks up the ladder.
To wait for him.
And... Yeah, I don't... What the fuck?
What if he'd gone in there making out with Eve and fell down on the bed and, like, Joey's just sitting there? Because that was totally a possibility.
Absolutely.
Like...
I guess that was a risk she was willing to take.
I guess. So she's like, hey, Dawson. And then she's like, I forgive you, and I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And, like, all the stuff that, like, she told Bessie they said, she says.
Yeah, she apologizes to him, says she was wrong, says she was dumb, says she shouldn't have lashed out at him. All this shit, and like they're completely taking away everything that they did in the last episode for whatever reason, I guess. But Dawson, so she's like, Dawson's like, oh, things will be the same or whatever, and she's like, no, it's different now.
They're gonna be better.
Yeah, and she takes off her shirt.
Yep, she is offering herself up to him. She's leaning over him on the bed. Yeah, she's kissing him, and he's like, I'll put your shirt back on.
Yeah, and she's like, he goes, this isn't you or whatever. She goes, I can be sexual.
Yeah. He's done that to her a couple times, though, where he's like, no, you're not like that. But it's like, if you're going to be in a relationship, you got to be able to look at her as a sexual person.
Yeah, like, it's a trick that I think he hasn't learned yet, but there is a way to look at a woman respectfully for 90% of the time, and then look at her like a sex object almost for 10% of the time, you know, because you need a little. If you're gonna have good sex, you need a little bit of that. You need a little bit of, you know.
Yeah, you can't be completely sweet and respectful the whole time.
No, because that's like, you know, you can't be like, oh, this is the mother of my children. You know, it's like you can't be having those thoughts.
Dudes like that cheat on their wives.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, because they compartmentalize women. This is the pristine, virginal, you know, whatever ideal I have for women, and I cannot sully them. But, you know, this whore, I can, like, because they compartmentalize women into that, like the Madonna and the whore, you know. Yeah.
But I'm sure she is completely humiliated and heartbroken again, which, like, she broke his heart, so, I mean, she deserves it, I guess. But, like...
He does explain. He does get a chance to explain.
Yeah.
Because, like you said, she's like, oh, go to hell or whatever, and she puts her shirt back on, and he's like, look, and she's basically like, what's wrong with me or whatever? Why don't you want me? Like, all that shit and everything. He's like, it's not you. I love you, you know, or whatever. He's like, but if we get together now, then it's going to end the exact same way. Because you have to keep in mind, she broke up with him twice now.
Yeah.
And was not talking to him for an extended period of time twice. And he's like, you know, it's going to end the same way, and then there will be no love left between us.
Yeah.
And she's like, there's love left now. He's like, yes, but, you know, like, we need time to be different or whatever. I do feel like they kind of reach an understanding at the end of this conversation where he's like, I can't put my heart out like that again right now. Maybe in time I'll heal and we can try this again after we've matured or whatever. But I mean, she did, like, if she had been pissed off at him and said, even if she said, I think what she said was harsh, way too harsh. But even if she'd been pissed off at the whole thing with her dad and said exactly what she said, and then like 2 days later said, I apologize, I didn't mean it. It was heat of the moment. I think it would have been okay, because that's just like a fight.
Yeah.
But for the entire summer to not say anything, that's...
Yeah, the only thing that wore her down is that she actually had to see him and she talked to Bessie.
Yeah, and she saw him with another woman.
Yeah.
Like, how much did that play into
That's true.
Into her thought process? The jealousy.
So, yeah, not okay.
So he turns her down for sex.
And then...
He should have just had sex with her and then been like, we can't be together, though.
No, he shouldn't. He did the right thing if he wasn't going to be with her.
Yeah, I guess.
But he does the classic bad mistake thing that guys do sometimes, and I'm concerned, where he says to Pacey, go take care of her for me.
Yeah, so that worried me too. As soon as I heard him say, make sure she's okay, she's going to need someone, I was like, oh no.
Yeah. Yeah.
She was just about to give herself up to you, and now you're sending a man that suddenly looks like Harrison Ford her way.
Yeah, so
Let me tell you something, Pacey.
So yeah, I mean Pacey rolls up on her dock where she's sitting and crying, and like is like putting his arms around her, comforting her, and
he's like, "Oh yeah, I can't understand you. I can't emotionally connect to you. I don't know what it's like to love somebody and have to push them away and like want to be with them, but it can't be because they're crazy or whatever. You know, like he goes through the whole thing. That's like they're connecting emotionally. He like grabs her. He's the shoulder to cry on. Like,
yeah, this is not good.
I'm worried.
I mean, that would just blow up their friend group entirely. They can't do this.
I don't know what they're gonna do, but
and then Dawson is, propositioned by Eve to go onto this boat.
That's when the boat thing happens. He comes downstairs again and to talk to Pacey and say what happened with Joey. And then she's like, hey, come with me or whatever. And he's like, okay. So he follows her and she's got her boss's boat.
Now, he is objecting the entire way out there that he doesn't want to leave the party. This is his house, all that stuff. They get out to the boat. And then his dad shows up and is on the lawn screaming, Dawson! Mm-hmm. Almost like, cartoonish.
And she says, rightly so, really. She's like, hey, if you go over there now or if you talk to him in the morning, what's the difference?
Yeah.
So you might as well come have sex with me on this boat. And he says no. Yeah. He refuses. This is the more unbelievable one because she is offering sex with no strings attached at all.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to take your virginity, Dawson.
Yep. Lose your virginity to the 21-year-old hottie who doesn't want anything from you, or go get yelled at by your dad.
And he chooses to go get yelled at.
Because he's Dawson. Because he always does the responsible thing.
I don't understand, though. Like, it's ridiculous.
Not the choice you would have made. I hear you.
No. Not at 17. But yeah. And then, not much is happening with... the only other storyline really is...
Jen.
Oh, Jen. There is something that happens with her.
Yeah.
Jen and Jack, first of all, are like... They have some weird, like, coordinated breakfast ritual... And Grams is there, and she's looking judgmental, but I guess that's just her resting face.
Yeah.
Because she seems pleased or whatever. She's like, how long have you two been married?
Yeah, so it was kind of cute or whatever. But there's these bitchy cheerleaders.
Yeah, we're introduced suddenly to a group of mean girls.
Mm-hmm. And they're, like, making fun of girls coming to sign up for cheerleader tryouts. And Jen's like, I'm going to take them down a peg. And
They're calling women fat that are objectively not fat. Yeah.
And so she goes over to sign up, and the cheerleader's like, no. Mm-hmm. And she's like, oh, come on. Don't you want to see if I can do it? Or something like that. I don't know. So instead of even trying out, she gets so mad because of the way they're treating all of these girls.
She does slam poetry.
Yeah, she gets up there and talks shit about the head cheerleader and like where her life is going to be in 10 years and how fake she is and all that, whatever.
25 years, she says.
Oh, 25 years, yeah.
Yeah, she runs through the whole list of like, she's fucking addicted to Prozac. Her husband's left her for her daughter's
roommate,
boarding school roommate. And she goes through like the whole list of shit and everything, and she's like, because you think she's a fucking fake, she's whatever, and she completely tears her down, and everyone starts clapping, including her little posse of assholes.
And so, again, she didn't actually try out, but all of a sudden she is accepted to the cheerleading team as the head cheerleader.
And the head cheerleader. She replaces her. Everyone's clapping her in the hallways.
They don't even know if she can cheer. It makes no sense. Like, I get that they thought her little speech was cool, but this makes no sense.
So, this show, I believe, is mostly written by men. There may be some women on the show, but this is one of those situations. You know, like the 90210 writers don't understand what it's like to be like a regular person.
Right.
These writers don't understand what cheerleading is.
Okay.
Because they're like, oh, cheerleaders, those hot girls in the hallway that we wanted to talk to and they wouldn't talk to us or whatever because we were dorks in high school. Like, but it's not that. It's athletic competition. Like,
right.
They have competitions they go to where it's like gymnastics, essentially, where they have to do different routines and different things and they get judged and shit. And it's like, it's actually kind of a hard sport. So... You're right. To make her the head cheerleader, it's not just standing on the sideline in a football game, kicking your leg in the air and being like, rah, rah. That's
right.
not...
No.
That's like one of the things they do, but that's not really what being a cheerleader is like. Can Jen lead them to a national title in cheerleading?
No. Absolutely not. She has smoker's lung. I mean, like, she is not athletic. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I feel like she should just say no. But she's walking around with the pom poms.
She's got the gold pom poms with the rhinestones.
So they're bringing her into the football storyline they're constructing.
Oh my God, they are. She's gonna be on the sideline cheering for Dawson as he's the quarterback.
What is happening?
They're just remaking Varsity Blues.
There's gonna be a Varsity Blues episode later.
Oh my God, can you imagine?
No.
Pacey's going to be that one dude that was like riding around in the stolen cop car with the women with the girls really with their tops off.
Right? Yeah.
His dad's the cop too. He could totally do it.
He could totally do it.
Oh my God, they've set up. This is insidious. They set up every element so early in this show to create this episode.
Oh, please do it now, just so we can make fun of it.
Oh my goodness. But yeah. So and that's basically the episode. I don't know what's going to happen from here. I'm worried about many things.
Yeah. I hope they don't ruin the show. That's my big fear right now.
Me too. But that is the episode for the week. Carol, tell people where they can find their own Varsity Blues in real life.
You can write us at latefee1994 at AOL.com. Mm-hmm. Check out our website at www.retrolatefee.com.
Yep.
And share our tapes with your friends.
All right, we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.